Good morning. My name is Karen Kong and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. Today is going to be my last live until summer officially starts, which for me is not until end of next week. My daughter is competing in the Nationals dance competition, and so we'll be busy for the next few days, well, until next Thursday, starting on Sunday. So, and then she has her birthday party, and then after that, I think my summer kind of officially starts. Until then, I'm still really busy, but this will be the last live that I do until probably September, unless I find some time during the summer where I can do some creating and sharing. So we'll see. And I don't know which card I'm making today, actually. I was thinking that we would do this card first, and it was a split vote. So I think I'll do this card first, and then maybe if we have time, I'll show you how I made this one. Okay, so let's see what our timing is like today. You know me, if you've joined me before, I am a slower crafter, so it takes me a little bit longer to put my cards together because I like to move. Well, not that I like to move slower, it's more that I'm just more meticulous. Let's put it that way. Good morning, Shalee. Thanks for joining in. Okay, so if you are joining me live, I would love it if you say hi, ask me questions, join in the conversation, because it is not nearly as much fun talking to myself, and I really am not good at it. Hi, good morning, Sandra, Tara. Woo, we have a little bit of a crowd today. It's great. Yeah, this is the last one for before the summer hits. Just let me get this set up. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I'm trying to get set up in Facebook, and as usual, technology does not want to play nice with me. It's the last live, just be nice. So when I started my live, I realized my app that controls the orientation for this video, it has to override what Facebook is doing, and Facebook normally just forces you to film in or record in portrait mode, but I want landscape. And so I had to update that. So before I could start, I had to update. So now I'm trying to get this to display on my desktop so I can see the comments, and it is not displaying the same way. I can't see comments. And I just want to get going. Okay, let's see. Let's try this again. Okay, it's finally working. All right, so now my desktop is set up, and I am going to move my camera over to my mounting arm, or whatever you call this thing. So just close your eyes and hang on while I readjust, okay? Here we go. All right. Yep. So here's the two cards I have. Let's see how quickly we can get through this, because the one on the left is not very hard. I think the trickiest part was just kind of lining up the die so that I could get the swoop that I wanted to show properly. But I cased this card. The person who did the layout was Chris Smith. She's another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. She used a completely different DSP, and I don't have that one, so I used what I have in my stash, and I combined it with the Layering Leaves stamp set, okay? And I used the Bough Punch, which I just got. It's on clearance right now. It's the last chance to get it, and I really like it. I've been eyeing it from day one, and I really like the sentiments in this set and the font, and I held off until I couldn't hold off anymore. So that's this card. And then this one we'll take a look at later, but it brings in DSP from the Dainty Delight. Do you remember that one? That was hugely popular, and it was a piece of DSP that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it until I saw this layout, and I needed to use I needed to find the right kind of image for it, and I didn't have a stamp, and I realized that this DSP would work for it. So let's take a look at that later. Hopefully we'll have time, but let's get started, okay? Yeah, Tara, so it actually wasn't ever a bundle. The layering leaves, I don't think it was ever bundled together. It definitely goes together because the punch goes with this this stamp, but they never bundled it, and I'm not sure why. It was always sold separately, but they do go together. Okay, so let's get started. I put this on a Mossy Meadow cardstock to complement the green in the background, but you could use whatever color you feel like, whatever matches the DSP, or you could just use white. I just found that I have a lot of this green, and I wanted to use it. I think it'll look nice. It's a nice contrast. I'll put something inside. I'll probably do some stamping, but I want to focus on the outside. Okay? So let's get the paper out. So to save time today, because I thought I might try to get through 2 of these cards, I have pre-cut a bunch of stuff. So if you're joining for the first time, don't worry about the measurements and trying to write it all down. I always put my measurements in the video description afterwards, and then you can find the replay either on Facebook or on YouTube. So just relax and enjoy. So let me I'll just mention it now what the measurements are, but again, they'll be in the video description. So this is basically the width of a standard card. It is 4 1/4, and this top DSP is 3 1/4. And the piece underneath I discovered as I was trying to recreate this card without a tutorial is just a 1/4 of an inch long, wider. It is 3.5 inches. Okay, so this is just a half a sheet, the leftover sheet from this card. So it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half. I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I just need to score it. Okay. So I'm just going to score it at the halfway mark, which is 4 1/4. And I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. Actually, yeah, let's do the cut and emboss machine. Okay, so let's show you the border die that I use. So if you have this set, it is a retired set. I used this curved die. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through the cut and emboss machine. So the first time I'll aim the curve up more so that I can allow for room for that little swoop to show underneath. And then the second time I'll cut this piece and I'll just angle this down like this. So it was a little trickier trying to figure out what angle to do this at. So we'll figure it out together. Yeah, so these border dies, I really like them mostly because I had used this die for clouds, but I've used all the other dies for various things, so it's a handy set to have. Okay, let's bring this over. All right. So let's do the top piece first. Sorry for the wobbling on the table. All right, so I'm gonna angle this up this way so we can see the peaking of Flirty Flamingo underneath. Okay, so I just picked Flirty Flamingo because that's part of the color set from this DSP. And let's see, how far up should I aim this? Okay, so I'm going to put it there, and we're going to run it through. Yes, Shali, I think I was the one who told you when I saw this at a garage sale or whatever it was, that you're gonna need these. Okay, so there's one piece, and let's get the other piece, and I'm just gonna lay it on top so I can kind of get an idea of where to put the die for this one. I'll remove it afterwards. Okay. So to get a different angle, I need to move it down a bit. And then I'm going to take that away. Go. So I think that's all we need the cut and emboss machine for. So I'm going to move it out of the way for now. Okay, so that's cut, and I think I'm going to stamp this first, because you know how it is when you want to stamp something perfectly and it's already on the card. You're worried that it's not going to stamp nicely, or it's not going to turn out well, so I'm going to do it before I adhere it. I'm going to use, let's see, so this one was sending hugs. I could use thinking of you, that would work well, or thank you so much, but I like the size of this, so I'm going to stick with that one. Okay, let's get my block, and we'll just pick it up with the block. Okay, so these are fairly new. I'm just going to rub my finger over it because I want to make sure there's no residue left on the stamp, because that will affect how the ink adheres to it. Okay, so this is Flirty Flamingo. It matches my cardstock. And I'm just going to ink it up, and we'll put it into the bottom corner here. Great. Okay, so those are the basic layers there. I'm going to stamp these pieces now, okay? And I'm going to use the punch to punch them out. So I need a long skinny piece because of the way that the stamp is, the punch is built. So it's, I always look underneath to see how I'm going to do this, because I always stamp this way so that I can see that my image is lined up. So I know that I'm going to have to slide it in like this. So I have to stamp my image vertically on this piece of paper so I can slide it in and cut it properly. Because if you cut it, I originally had stamped it kind of on an angle, and that made it really difficult. I had to trim corners because I couldn't get it in properly. So this needs to be vertical on a skinny sheet of paper. Okay, so my stamp is over here. I already mounted it from yesterday, and I used Old Olive. And all I did for the second color was I stamped once, that's the full strength, and then this is the stamped off color, okay? So I'm just gonna ink this up. Oh, I can see when you look at it, I can see that's darker, so I'm just going to ink it up again and make sure the other side looks just as dark. It's funny, this side is picking up more ink than the other side. I think I hadn't cleaned it enough. Okay. Okay, that's once. And this is twice. Let's hope I have enough room to get my fingers in there to hold the image still and the paper still when I punch it out. Okay. All right, so let's punch this out. So the first one's going to be easy. And once I kind of get it into place, I kind of grip it. I press the punch down a little bit to grip it, so I can make final adjustments without moving it too much. I find that this one doesn't line up perfectly. I don't know if, anyways, it looks good. There we go. Doesn't that look great? All right, so now let's do the other one. Whoops, I'll pull it down a little bit further. Okay, I'm just gonna grip it by pressing a little bit on the punch while I make those last little adjustments to make sure it lines up. There we go. I thought those look good. All right, so there is the leaves, and we got to punch out some flowers. So let's get another skinny sheet. That's another, I'm using like all my cast off strips from other projects. Let's use Flirty Flamingo again for that flower. So I'm just going to need to get out the flower stamp. And let's use a smaller block for this. Okay. Let's ink this up. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to see if I can get that more solid looking. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. So let's punch this out. Oops. Oh, I'm going to have to hold it this way. Okay, so just gripping it lightly while I adjust it. There we go. All right. I'm really happy with how this punch works. It's really pretty. All right, so I think we're ready for assembly. So it's a really easy card. I think the trickiest part was just figuring out where to lay the die so that you can get the right curve on it. Okay, so let's get my bone folder out so I can burnish my fold. Okay, we'll put this on first, of course. And it goes edge to edge, this one, so that you don't see any of the card base behind it. Okay, and this will go on first. So I did not use just a part of a piece of paper because I wanted the whole thing to lie flat, right? Because if I made it smaller, you'd end up with a little bit of a bend in the paper possibly. Not hugely visible, but I like it to lie completely flat. So I didn't trim it smaller. And I do recommend glue for this so that you have a little bit of play once you lay it down to straighten things out if it's not quite lined up. Okay. There. There we go. All right. So now all we do is put these together. I think I'm going to put the dark one on top this time, just for fun. And I'm just going to put little dots of glue to join this together. Let's get my silicone mat out, so in case it, I get a little bit of glue on my desktop, it won't matter because the silicone it'll just peel right off. All right, make a little bit more room so you can see this properly. So because it's only overlapping in the bottom half, I'm only going to put glue in little spots here. So if I'm just kind of guesstimating where this is going to lie, I'm trying to see where approximately it overlaps and it would be safe to put some glue. You don't need a lot of glue to hold it together. Oops. Okay. All right, and then same thing with the flowers. Whoops. Just needs a little bit of glue. And I'm going to use my tweezers. Okay, so now that this is together, I'm just going to put glue on the very back and I'll stick it onto my card. So I'm just putting glue on the very bottom layer because that's the layer that will touch the paper. And let's just position that here. And we're almost done. Look at that. I'm just going to get some twine. And we'll make a little ribbon. So I always tie my bows on the spool I don't cut it because then I don't have to measure, right? I don't know how much I'm going to need. And if I make a mistake, I can just undo the bow and retie it and not waste any of my ribbon or my twine. I want it to be a fairly small bow because it's a small little bunch of greenery and flowers. I don't want it to overwhelm. Okay, so I need some scissors. And I'm just going to use a half of a glue dot to adhere this. So I keep a pair of separate scissors for just cutting through my glue dots and such, and sticky things, so that I don't have it all gummed up on all my scissors. So I have a half a glue dot left from this project earlier, so it's just half there. And I'm just going to stick my knot right on top of it to pick it up. Okay, so I'm just sticking it to that glue dot. And then I'm going to peel it off and stick it onto the stems right here. I think that's a little bit long, so let's trim it. And that's the card. That was so easy today, right? And I think it looks pretty impressive. It's a simple card, but you know, it looks like it took some effort, and I like how it turned out. So let's go on to the next card. I will show you how I made that one too. I think it'll be a record today. 2 cards in one sitting. I was struggling with a different card for hours and hours, and I will share that one later once I've given it to the recipient. But that one took me hours to put together, and some cards like these ones did not take nearly, like probably less than half the time. Okay, here's the other card. All right, it is taken from the Dainty Delight paper. So this is the piece I used, okay? And what I did was I took my stylish, not stylish shapes, this is layering circles, okay? This is a layering circle die, and I wanted to create little floral embellishments, I guess, on top of these white circles that that I could see just the tops of. So I played around with this. I think I prefer not having this greenery. I'm gonna cut all those off. I would just want the flowers, so more like this kind of an image, more solid. And all I did was I took these and I positioned them so that I would have the flower in the position that I wanted. The most important thing was the bottom part of the circle. Where do you want the bottom of your circle to sit? Like some of these are on the side, and I played around with it. And the original card that I saw, which used a completely different stamp set, it was a different company altogether. So they only had their images on the bottom half of the circle, and I thought it looked great. But this particular image that I pulled my flowers from, it didn't work out quite the same, right? So, but I think I'm going to attempt to do it that way. So if you can see, I'll show you the pieces that I cut out already. Okay, so I went ahead and I did some other cutting, but here you can see that I took circles out from different sections, and some of them overlap. Like I said, it depends on where you want the bottom of your image to sit, right? So for this one, I took an image like this because I wanted the bottom of this image, and then the next one, the pink one, it didn't matter what happened to the top because I'm going to be fussy cutting it away anyways, okay? So I took an image from just here, so you can see that they overlap and I lose part of this image, but that's okay. Like I said, you are trimming off all the excess on the top, right? So in order to get this kind of a look, so I've done the same thing again, and I've done some of it ahead of time so we don't have to spend the entire time watching me fussy cut. So I've already cut out a few of these images. And this time I've kind of aimed more for the bottom of my image to be such that the flowers are facing upwards rather than to the side. Okay, and it's kind of interesting that you can do that, even though you see that the original image is in an oval shape, right? Okay, so I'm going to continue fussy cutting these just to trim it down to show the white circle underneath, because what I did next was that I added coloring behind to complement the flower and to give it some interest and depth. Okay, so let me just fussy cut this now. I used to hate fussy cutting all the time, like I never wanted to do fussy cutting, and now I've been converted. I don't mind it nearly as much anymore. It gives you so much more flexibility on taking DSP and using it for different things, right? Okay, so there's that one. These are all the circles, just the same size white circle. And I think I'm going to cut it differently this time. Let's see how this turns out. I can always trim this off afterwards if we're not happy with it. Okay, almost done. Sandra, one day you will also be converted, I think. It might take a little longer, but I think you'll come around eventually. Okay, so that is 6 images already. And what happened yesterday was I actually had this one stuck behind another one and I accidentally cut through it. So we have more than enough images right now, but I'm just going to cut through this one and just to give us a few more options, one more option to play with. So this idea was cased from somebody named Rachel Arribas, but like I said, she demonstrated using a completely different stamp set, different products, but it's the same idea, and I really liked her idea. I really loved how it turned out, so that's what we're doing. So okay, so now that I've got all my little images, you can see that I added colors behind them to complement them. I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper to do this shading part. So I just took my blending brush and I added a color in behind it that I thought would look nice with it. So for this one, I'm going to use crushed curry. And you want the color not to cover the entire white circle. You want some white. So I'm trying to aim for blending that just gives a little bit of color where it peeks out, right? I wonder if I should use, actually, you know what? I'm going to use crushed curry, but for the sunflowers instead. Actually, those are sunflowers. Sort of. I think there's a different name for those. They're not exactly sunflowers. They're not as full as sunflowers. They look kind of like daisies, but yellow. And I don't know if they're called cone flowers or whatever, but you get the idea. Okay, so I'm just going to blot off so I don't get a huge daub of color. And I'm going to blend it on very, very light. And I'm going to leave some white at the end, around the edges. Okay, so that when I cover it, okay, so I can see that I need a little bit more. It's not quite showing enough. So that's, I think that's too far over. So it takes a little bit of fiddling around with sometimes, but I think, you know, it's not hard. It's just a matter of getting the right shading in the right spot. I'm gonna flip it over and try again because there's something, I can see something, I don't know what, it looks like a cobweb, but I can't get rid of it. Okay, so let's try this again. I'm not even going to ink it up again. Let's try this without inking up again. All right. I'll make it a little darker to give it a little bit more color so you can see it better. Cone flowers, Tara says. Yes, there is. That's what made me think it was maybe a cone flower. Yeah, I think that's okay. All right, so let's leave that one. I didn't choose to put yellow behind anything else, so let's put this away. I am going to use Old Olive for a couple of them. So let's bring that one in. I used it for this guy. So very light hand. Okay, let's see if that's enough. I'm going to add a little bit more on this side. Okay. That's going to look good. All right, and we'll do another green one. Let's use it for this flower here. I'm not going to be able to choose which one to use at this point. I only need 6. There we go. Let's see how visible that looks. I'm going to go up a little bit higher, make it a little bit darker. A little bit more. Okay, that's good. And there's a pink one here. It's the, I I don't know what shade of pink that is actually. I'll have to take a look at the DSP to check. I thought there was only fresh Freesia, but that's more of a pink. Oh, that's Blushing Bride. Okay. Let's see if I can find Blushing Bride. Oh, I think I see it. It's at the bottom of one box. My inks. Don't think I have a clean brush for this because I don't want to mix it with the other colors. I may have to do this later. I'm going to save this one for later. Let's continue with a different color. We'll use Fresh Freesia. These ones. Let's get my brush out. Yeah, Flirty Flamingo might work actually. We'll see. We'll do this one first. Okay. I think I need a little bit more for it to be visible. Yeah, I don't think I went high enough on this one. Let's go a little bit higher. It's the tricky part, not going too high so that you cover all the white by accident. There. I think that's good enough. Let's do... I'm going to do one for that flower. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go a little higher. Let's see. That's probably good. And my last one is Starry Sky. For this guy. Oh, I have two here. Let's move that out of the way. Let's see how this looks. I want it to go a little bit above the top flower, so I'm going to do a little bit more. I feel like it's very heavy on one side by accident. And I can see the brush strokes from the brush head. Let's give this one another try. Let's turn it over. And I won't ink up again, so let's see how this turns out. Maybe a bit softer this time. That's better. I just need a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. You know, Tara, I used to wash my brushes every single time and I got tired of it. So now I actually don't wash them much. I try to stick to similar colors. Once they've dried up and I use a different shade of blue, I just make sure that I ink up my brush and I use it several times before I actually color on the surface that I want to blend on. But I like that lets me, you know, use it for a couple different colors. It has to be fairly close because you will get some bleeding out, like from the previous color, if it's if there was a lot of ink on the brush. So, you know, I just find that it doesn't ever come completely clean when I wash them. So. But I will have to wash some in the near future sometime because I think I'm running out of brushes and like I said, I need one for the Blushing Bride. I don't have something close enough, so I don't want to mix it up with another brush color. Okay, so let's move on. So all I did here was I actually mounted these with dimensionals. Okay, so let's get some dimensionals, and that will give it the height so it looks like it's floating. We'll do this one first. Okay. So after this, I mean, you can pretty much make the card. It's really simple. And you can play around with where you want to put the your word and what sentiment you want to use. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I'm going to use the small ones. I'm just reading Sandra's comment about using a container of water and towel at my desk. I don't know if you could just if you could effectively clean off all the ink from the brush head with just a bowl of water. I find that I rinse a lot. Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't know. When I'm cleaning them, I do them at the sink, and I find I need to use a lot of water to rinse. I think that's small enough to fit there. And if you've watched my lives before, I do not only just cut my glue dots in half, I also cut my dimensionals when I need to. Because sometimes that little spot is just better suited with a small piece. Yeah, I also have used a little bit of soap too. Try and get it out. Okay. That's 2 done. So you get the idea, right? All I'm doing is mounting them with dimensionals here, and then afterwards I glue it onto an embossed background. So the embossing folder that I use for this one is the Timeworn Type, but I think the original person used, she used a polka dot pattern, but it was very small polka dots. The polka dot pattern that I have, they're much larger, and I didn't think that they would look good with this. So yeah, so that's how it's gonna go. Let's Let's see if I can do this a little faster. I'm going to cut another one in half. I'm just thinking about how this is going to hold up if it goes through the mail system. So if I don't have any support underneath this little piece of paper at the tip, it might get crushed. I can't believe we're almost at the end of another school year. Well, actually there are lots of kids who are already out of school, but my daughter finishes tomorrow. And then we still have nationals next week, starting Sunday for her. And there's going to be some even earlier mornings than I would like for nationals. So I'll probably have to be up at 4-ish one morning so that I can make sure she's dressed and ready and makeup and hair done to make it downtown for 7 a.m. Yeah, school finishes tomorrow for the public system here. I know there are other French Catholic schools that have already been out for like a week. And she still has dance classes, of course, because she's preparing for nationals. So I'll be taking her to an extra practice tonight. She's as well as tomorrow night, actually, too. So we're not done yet. Okay. So you get the idea. Yes, Tara, 4 a.m. I need, well, 4:30. By the time we actually get up and we get our teeth brushed and faces washed and stuff, and then I have to start hair and makeup, which takes me roughly, I'm better at it now, and it's not a complicated style. I can be done in just over an hour, and then I have to get her breakfast, then pack the car, and get downtown. So yeah, in order to get that all done on time, I have to be up at 4-ish. I have a feeling, Sandra, you're probably faster than me at doing hair and makeup. But I had to factor in the risk of her not getting up when I ask her to get up, and me having to go back in and wake her up after I brush my teeth, and trying to get her to get dressed so that I can start hair and makeup. It's the extra padding for a grouchy person that I have to make sure I add. And then I have to get breakfast after that, after all that's done, and then pack everything up. So, and then, you know, there's snacks and water and all that sort of thing, which I will have mostly ready, but there's still some stuff to pack last thing. Yes, and we will be downtown for Canada Day for dance competition. And I am kind of glad that she has to be there early that day, because that means I won't get stuck in traffic. So that's one good thing about getting up early. All right, there we have 6 of them, and we can put together the card. But basically, it's pretty easy from here on out. Let me just get a piece of paper so we can emboss it. Okay, so let's use the Timeworn Type again. Move this out of the way. And Timeworn Type is a 3D embossing folder, so I only need the gray panel, I guess. Okay. Oh, sorry for the shaking. There. And I'm going to get a piece of white card base. There is no room right now to bring stuff onto my desk. There's too many little things. I'm just going to do it off screen quickly and just cutting a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half and scoring it at 4 1/4, just very standard. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to center this. Oh, what happened here? I don't know what's wrong with this. This looks like it's not the right size. Oh, no, it's fine. Okay, I thought I cut the wrong size. All right, so let's glue this on. Okay, see you later, Tara. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, I wish I could get ready faster, but somehow when I'm brushing and combing her hair and trying to get all the lumps out, I've had to do it over and over again. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I haven't figured out that trick yet. Okay, so now let's just line these up. So I'm just going to make sure that I have the background colors in different sections, because I don't want to have the same color next to each other. Let's put this down here. And I like to line things up so I know approximately where it's going to go before I start putting on glue and putting it on the paper. I'm just debating, should I have it like this, facing up? It doesn't look quite right because it looks like it's lying down. So I think I'm going to turn this a little bit again because all the other ones are now facing straight up, which I think I like better. And I cut out the extra leaves and stuff. Okay, so that's basically what the layout's going to look like. And then I go ahead and glue. And again, I don't put the glue right to the edge. I leave a little bit of space so that if I have to wiggle it around to adjust the placement, the glue doesn't show. Okay. I am just looking at Sandra's suggestion about setting up the hair the night before, and no, I have not tried that, and I'm just worried that because she's sometimes a wild sleeper and her hair is a ridiculous mess in the morning, that I don't know. I don't know what it would look like. I just spray it all down in the morning and work from there. Okay, oops. Let's put this here. Thank goodness for tweezers, because it helps me place things without my fingers in the way. And I can see how it's going to look. That looks good. I don't usually have a problem with the part not like getting the part. It's not really, that's not my biggest problem. My biggest problem is trying to get the whole thing to look smooth without like lumps, because as soon as I lift my hand to capture the ponytail with an elastic, lumps appear. Okay, and now you guys, the crafting community is now knowing why it takes me so long to assemble a card, because I am very slow at lining things up. Okay, so let's leave this one on the side. So if you ever get a card from me, you'll know that it was assembled with great care. Oh, sorry, Shelly. Glad you were able to join in, and have a great day. Yeah, we're going a little bit over time because we made 2 cards today, which is unusual. But it is the last live, and I thought I would have time, and I think I'm doing pretty good on time today, because there have been days when I do 1 card and it takes me this long. Okay. That looks good. All right, so I'm gonna have to change my sentiment this time because last time I had cut this piece out out of the remaining DSP that I had, because that was not the one I was originally going to use. I wanted to use this one, but I had accidentally cut it up. So it left a lot of white space here, and I thought that would make a great place to put a sentiment because I had a lot of empty space there. But this time I've cut it differently, so I'm going to have to probably choose something maybe that sits right here. But I'll finish that later, but you get the idea. And we've done 2 cards today instead of 1. Let me just bring in the other card. Where did I put it? Here we go. So yeah, so you hopefully have been inspired to use your stash, bring out the Dainty Delight, because that was such a great DSP, and play with that in a new way. And I hope everyone has a fantastic summer, and hopefully I'll be able to squeeze in 1 or 2 lives here and there. We'll see. But it's going to be, you know, a full house, right? And it's harder to get stuff done when it's a full house, and I don't know. It's a different vibe in the house. So anyways, I hope you all have a great summer. I will definitely be back in September once school starts again. And have fun creating this summer and play with your stash. Have a great day. Bye.